We're in Mark chapter 4, starting with verse 26. Jesus tells a story, a parable of the growing seed. Mark 4, starting with verse 26. Jesus also said, "The kingdom of God is like a farmer who scatters seed on the ground. Night and day, while he's asleep or awake, the seed sprouts and grows. But he does not understand how it happens. The earth produces the crops on its own. First the leaf blade pushes through, then the heads of wheat are formed, and finally the grain ripens. And as soon as the grain is ready, the farmer comes and harvests it with the sickle, for the harvest time has come." Here in Mark chapter 4, we have this story, this parable of the growing seed. This story is only found in the Gospel of Mark. And what it's about is the growth of God's kingdom in this world. And the growth of God's kingdom is beyond our understanding, it says, and beyond our control. Notice what it says there in verse 28. 3 words, on its own. It happens automatically. It happens on its own. Now, when we plant things, there are certain things we can do, right? We can, of course, cultivate the soil and sow the seed. We can water the plants. But ultimately, we just have to trust God for the increase, for the growth. We do our part and God does his part. We have our limitations. That's true in relation to plants. We plant them, we water them, we till the soil, we weed the weeds out. But ultimately, God has to give the growth, the increase. It's true in our children's lives. We can only do so much, but God has to awaken the spiritual life in their soul. And of course, with the kingdom's increase, we have our limitations, but also we need to have patience. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight in plants. I want to plant daffodils around our cabin somewhere, and I am told that the best time to plant daffodils is in the fall, and they won't sprout until the spring. So they are fall and then winter and then spring. So along with our limitations in planting, we have to have patience in planting. And the same with our children. We can only invest in their lives so much, but we must trust God and pray that God will work in their hearts and their lives. The first and the last stages of this whole process is the most exciting parts, the sowing and the harvesting. The in-between is less glamorous. The adolescence of Christian growth is less exciting. The harvest, of course, is the end of the world as we know it. The prophet Joel mentions this in Joel chapter 3, verse 13. He says, "Swing the sickle, for the harvest is ripe." So these few verses are talking about the growth of the kingdom of God in the world, whenever and wherever it may take place. Be a worker in God's kingdom.